Direct and straight to the point. I like that. But I'm here for more than clothes. I would like to get to know you better. Jaachi finally met his gaze, her eyes sharp. She looked at him. Let me save you the trouble. I don't date rich men. Nnamdi blinked, caught off guard. And why is that? Because rich men are ritualists, she replied bluntly. Every single one of them. They get their wealth through unthinkable means and leave their family members to suffer. I don't want to be anyone's next victim. Once upon a time, in the bustling town of Umocham, there lived a very beautiful girl named Jaachi. Her family lived in luxury, the kind that turned heads and inspired envy. Her father, Chifude, was a renowned businessman who dealt with a lot of things. Real estate, imports, name it. Their house was a gigantic mansion with big gates located in the upscale of town. To Jaachi, life was perfect, or so she thought. At 6, she knew little of the world's difficulties. All she knew was that her family had everything anyone could ever wish for: wealth, power, and respect. But everything changed the day her father died. Her father had come home looking very tired and rusty. He had called for a meeting for her brothers that evening and told them something in hushed tones. Jaachi was just 6 at the time and couldn't remember a lot, apart from the fact that her immediate elder brother Jidenna, who was 10 at the time, had come to tell her that daddy was acting and saying strange things. What followed that meeting was a series of bad events. Her father had died the next morning in his sleep. He had tears in his eyes when he was found. After he passed, truths began to come out. Truths that left an indelible mark in her life. At first, it was just strangers knocking on their doors. Men wearing sharp red gowns with eyes that carried shadows discussing with her mom. Jaachi would often watch them from behind the curtains, her small fingers clutching the fabric. Each time, they argued with her mother in hushed but angry tones. One midnight, they had come in convoy of over 5 black SUV, all dressed in red gown and carrying black staff. We have come to take what belongs to us. Your husband was one of us and we can't leave him, one of the men said. Jaachi was hiding at the top of the stairs, listening intently as they continued. We must perform all the rites for him as customary. We must take his body. Norma's voice shook, equal parts fury and fear. Leave our house immediately. You can't take my husband's body. We don't want anything to do with you or your cult. The man laughed, low and menacing. Chifude was very much one of us, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, you think it's just business that made him this rich and powerful? He said, pointing at the house around. It isn't though. He had to be in a cult. Every wealthy man you know in this town, every single one of them, is in one cult or the other. It is what gives wealth, power, and protection. If you fail to give us his body, you can be sure that you will regret it and you will have to bear the consequences. The men left that night, but their words lingered like a dark cloud over their once happy home. It wasn't long before tragedy struck. Within a year, Jaachi's 3 older brothers began dying in ways that felt almost scripted. Jidenna, the youngest, was found drowned inside a private pool in the compound. Emeka died in a boarding school during a chemistry practical experiment that went wrong. The acid had burned his body badly and within hours he gave up. Nonso, the eldest, who was in his first year in the university, was hit by a car on his way to class. By the time Jaachi turned 7, she was the only child left. The once bustling mansion became a house of grief. Her mother spiraled into depression, spending days in her bedroom or in the hospital. The once loyal friends and business partners vanished, leaving Norma and Jaachi to fend for themselves. The wealth dried up faster than anyone could have imagined. The cars and houses were sold, and the remnants of their luxurious lifestyle were scattered like ashes. Within 2 years after their father died, they moved into a small flat in the outskirts of Umocham, where their past life was replaced by the silence of poverty. Despite everything, Jaachi was determined to survive. By the time she was in her teens, her beauty had become the talk of the town. She had a very natural elegance that couldn't be bought and loved fashion very much. After she graduated from the secondary school, she decided to learn fashion designs since they couldn't afford the funds of a university education. She hoped that her skill would help her build a new life for herself and her mother. Soon, she enrolled as an apprentice in a well-known fashion house in town. Her mentor, Madam Ngozi, quickly recognized her talent. Jaachi, you are good though. And you're not just good, you are talented. If you continue like this, one day people will fight to wear your designs. They are really good. A few years later, after Jaachi finished her learning in the fashion school, she set up her own small fashion house and not long after became quite popular in Umocham. Her designs were modern, bold, and uniquely hers. Clients from all over the city flocked to her modest fashion house, praising her skill and creativity, male and female. But no matter how much she succeeded, the shadows of her past would not leave her. Every time she met someone wealthy, especially men, her chest tightened with suspicion. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. Rich men are dangerous. Their wealth is never clean. Jaachi had no intentions of letting her guard down. Wealth to her was a warning sign, a flashing red light she would never ignore. By the time Jaachi turned 22, her beauty became the talk of Umocham. Wherever she went, heads turned, her smooth brown skin glowed under the sunlight. Her almond-shaped eyes held a quiet intensity, and her smile, when it appeared, was enough to make hearts skip. Her talent as a fashion designer only added to her charm. She seemed to have everything a young woman needed to attract suitors, and she attracted a lot of them. Every other week, someone would show up, either at her shop or at their modest flat, with gifts or a marriage proposal. Some came with carefully written letters, others with flowers or promises of the world. Most of them very wealthy, dressed in designer suits and expensive perfumes, flaunting their successes. But Jaachi's response was always the same. I'm not interested, she would say, her voice calm but firm. It wasn't long before her refusals became the subject of gossip in her area. She thinks she's too good for everyone. I beg, leave that one, some whispered. Who does she think she is? Others sneered. But Jaachi didn't care. She had no intention of letting anyone into her life, especially not a rich man. One day, a man named Nnamdi walked into her shop. He was tall, handsome, and confident. His gold wristwatch was shining, and his shoes were polished to perfection. Nnamdi was the heir to a family business empire and was used to getting what he wanted. When he entered, he proudly greeted, Jaachi, good afternoon. How are you doing, beautiful girl? His baritone voice filling the room. I've heard a lot about you, and now that I have seen you, I know why you are the talk of the town. Jaachi barely looked up from the fabric she was stitching. If you're here to order a suit or abada, I can take your measurements. If not, please, the door is right behind you. Nnamdi chuckled, unbothered. Direct and straight to the point. I like that. But I'm here for more than clothes. I would like to get to know you better. Jaachi finally met his gaze, her eyes sharp. She looked at him. Let me save you the trouble. I don't date rich men. Nnamdi blinked, caught off guard. And why is that? Because rich men are ritualists. She replied bluntly. Every single one of them. They get their wealth through unthinkable means and leave their family members to suffer. I don't want to be anyone's next victim. Nnamdi's confident smile faltered. Wait, what? Where is that kind of talk coming from? When everyone is struggling to marry a wealthy man so they can secure their future, how can you have that kind of assumption? He said, his tone defensive. It's not an assumption. Besides, I'm not most people, Jaachi shot back. It's the truth. So if you're here for marriage or anything, dating or what, please sir, you can leave now. Nnamdi left, embarrassed, but the encounter only added to the town's gossip about her. Jaachi's been through a lot, Madam Ngozi, her mentor, will tell people who judge her harshly. Her past isn't something you can just forget. But Jaachi didn't feel the need to explain herself to anyone. She lived with the memories of her father's death, her brother's death, and her family's fall from grace to grace. To her, avoiding wealthy men wasn't just a personal choice, it was a tip for survival. Despite her determination to keep suitors at bay, they kept coming in their numbers. One day, her mother Norma sat her down in their small living room. Jaachi, she began softly. Don't you think it's time to let someone in? You can't live your life alone forever. Jaachi shook her head. Mama, you of all people should understand now. After everything we went through, how can I trust any man? Especially a rich one. Do you want me to end up like papas? Or worse, in the grave like my brothers? God forbid, Norma said, tears welling up her eyes. I just want you to be happy, my daughter. Eh? You deserve happiness. I'm happy, oh, Mama, I'm happy, Jaachi said, though the weight in her voice betrayed her. I don't need a man to find peace. I just need to focus on my work. And that was what she did. Jaachi poured all her energy into her designs, creating masterpieces that made her very popular in Umucham. But even as her career flourished, the suitors didn't stop coming. Each time, Jaachi's rejection was swift and firm. Her words leaving them no room for doubt. Rich men are ritualists, she would say. I want nothing to do with them. One day, Jaachi was halfway through stitching a client's asoebi when a knock sounded on the studio door. She looked up frowning slightly. It was past noon and most people wouldn't knock before coming into the studio except they wanted a favor or owed you money. Most times they would just walk in. Come in, she called, her tone guarded. A man in blue overalls with a toolbox in hand walked in. He looked slightly awkward, his shirt sleeves rolled up to reveal toned arms dusted with grease. Good afternoon, he said, smiling. I'm here to check your toilet sink. I heard there is an issue. Jaachi ached an eyebrow. My toilet sink? Who sent you? Chidi scratched his head, clearly caught off guard. I'm from Waterworks. Waterworks in this Umucham. Jaachi eyed him suspiciously. I've lived in this town my whole life and I've never heard of that. What is it? Chidi blinked, fumbling for a response. Ah, madam, it's a new initiative from the government. We offer subsidized plumbing services to businesses who call us, empowering small entrepreneurs and all that. He grinned nervously. Jaachi looked at him, shaking her head. Oga, you can lie, sha. But since you are here, my toilet sink is actually leaking. You can fix it as long as your fees are reasonable. Thank you, ma, Chidi said quickly, stepping inside with exaggerated obedience. You won't regret it. As he got to work on the sink, Jaachi leaned against the doorway, watching him with an amusement. So you are a plumber, abi? Yes, ma. Don't look like a plumber with all this your haircut and fine boy look. Chidi paused, glancing up with a crooked smile. Ha! What does a plumber look like, madam? Should I carry pipe for my head and chant plumber dey waka o? Jaachi bursted into laughter before catching herself, quickly masking her amusement. You're lucky you are funny, otherwise you would have explained who you want to deceive this hot afternoon with hotter works. Chidi chuckled, wiping his hands on the rag. I tried sha, at least I've gotten you to smile. When he finished fixing the sink, he stood up brushing imaginary dust off his overalls. There you go, the sink is as good as new. Thank you, Jaachi said, reaching for the purse. So, how much do I owe you? Chidi waved her off. Ah, no need, madam. Jaachi narrowed her. No need, care. Oga plumber, if you don't collect your money, I will find another person next time. I won't call you. Chidi laughed, holding up his hands. Okay, okay, give me 500 naira. Jaachi handed him a crisp note, shaking her head. Next time, don't try to impress me with freebies. I don't like it at all. Yes, ma, Chidi said, grinning as he left. I dare your service anytime, Madam CEO. Over the next few weeks, Chidi became a familiar face around the shop. He would show up with one excuse or the another. Madam CEO, I had a leaky pipe to repair in the neighborhood. Do you want me to do anything for you? Ah, Madam CEO, I came to see your neighbor to fix something for him. I was just passing by and decided to ask you, do you have anything you want me to do? Jaachi quickly realized he wasn't like the other men who flaunted their wealth to win her over. Chidi seemed comfortable with himself, even when teasing her mercilessly. One day, he arrived with a small parcel in hand. What now? Jaachi asked, crossing her arm. My sink is fine. Nothing is wrong. What is it? No, Madam CEO, Chidi said, smiling shyly. This is your plumber's fee. He opened the small parcel to reveal a freshly baked meat pie. Jaachi blinked, trying not to laugh. Oga plumber, since when did meat pie become acceptable payment for plumbing? Ah, madam, it's not just meat pie. It's appreciation pie, Chidi said, holding it out like a prized treasure. You deserve the best for tolerating my face these few days. Jaachi rolled her eyes but took the parcel. Fine. But next time, bring jollof rice. I don't joke with jollof rice. Ah, consider it done, Chidi said with a grin. As they spent more time together, Jaachi found herself relaxing around him. Chidi had a way of making her laugh even when she didn't want to. His humility and humor were a stark contrast to the arrogant suitor she had been rejecting for years. She found herself opening up to him more than she had ever done in years. What Jaachi didn't know actually was that Chidi was no ordinary plumber. He was Chidi Ezenwa, a billionaire CEO who had fallen for her a long time ago after seeing her and hearing about her talent. When he learned of her distrust for wealthy men, he decided to approach her in disguise, hoping to win her heart without the shadow of his wealth getting in his way. But even as their friendship deepened, Chidi wondered how long he would keep up the act. It had been almost 3 months since Chidi first appeared in Jaachi's shop with his toolbox in hand. In that time, he had become a constant in her life. He helped her to set up for big client fittings, kept her company during quiet afternoon, and even introduced her to his so-called plumber friends who were actually his driver and personal assistants who were playing along with him. For Jaachi, Chidi was a breath of fresh air. He didn't pressure her or make grand promises he couldn't keep. His jokes always left her laughing, and his humility put her at ease. For the first time in years, she felt herself beginning to trust someone outside her small circle of her mom and her mentor. But as close as they were becoming, little things about Chidi didn't add up. One evening, as they shared some suya sticks he had bought, Jaachi pointed her skill at him. You this Chidi, are you sure you're a plumber? Chidi froze. The peppered meat had to way to his mouth. What kind of question is that? Of course I'm a plumber. She leaned back, her eyes narrowing. Your hands don't look like they belong to someone with pipes every day. No blisters, no injuries, nothing. Ah, Madam CEO, Chidi said, laughing nervously. You know I'm a modern plumber now. I use advanced tools. No need for all those manual things before. Jaachi raised an eyebrow, unconvinced. Ha, modern plumber. I didn't see any of the modern tools with you when you came to fix my sink. Chidi scoffed, scrambling for an answer. Jaachi shook her head. Oga, your gist isn't gisting. Be careful or I will start investigating you. Investigate me now, Chidi shot back, grinning. You won't find anything except a hardworking plumber who loves to eat meat pie. Despite her suspicions, Jaachi didn't push the issue. Chidi's presence had become comforting and she wasn't ready to ruin it with too many questions and doubts. One evening, Chidi invited Jaachi to a neighborhood football match. She was hesitant at first, but his enthusiasm was contagious. Come on now, he said, pulling her by the hand. You need to see how plumbers like me handle football. We are tactical legends. Tactical legends, ka. Jaachi laughed, following him. I hope you will not disgrace me there with this your big mouth. At the field, Chidi was the star of the match. He moved with the confidence of someone who wasn't just good but had trained with professionals. How you sure this guy is a plumber? One of the spectators whispered to Jaachi. He plays like he trained in Europe. Jaachi's suspicions deepened, but she pushed them aside, cheering him on as he scored the winning goal. The turning point came a week later, when Chidi arrived at her workshop in a rush. His usual overalls replaced by a simple t-shirt and jeans. Jaachi, you won't believe this, he said breathlessly, holding up a fabric sample. I found this at a thrift shop. If you turn this into a gown, it will be a masterpiece. Jaachi's eyes widened as she examined the fabric. It was imported lace, luxurious, expensive, and definitely not something a struggling plumber could afford. Chidi, she said slowly, her gaze sharp. How did you afford this? I got it from a thrift shop. She sells bail materials, he stammered. Bail materials, Chidi. This lace costs more than my entire month's rent. Which thrift shop are you talking about? Chidi hesitated, his usual confidence faltering. It's a long story. Ha! Please, I have all the time. Tell me the long story, Jaachi demanded, crossing her arms. But before he could respond, a sleek black SUV pulled up outside. A man dressed luxuriously in an agbada walked in. It was Chief Ikedi, one of Jaachi's most loyal and valued customers, known for his great taste and generosity. Immediately he sighted Chidi. He greeted him with so much respect. Ah, Oga Chidi, what are you doing here? He said, bowing to shake his hands. Good day, sir. I never knew you used to come to this part of town. Oh. Chidi winked his eyes as if trying to tell him something. Jaachi turned to Chidi. Oga Chidi, why is he calling you Oga? He's my boss, so the chief quickly snapped, ignorant of the looks in Chidi's eyes. He is our CEO. I always knew there was something about you. My spirit has been telling me, but I have just ignored it, eh? Mr. Plumber from Waterworks, she said, looking at Chidi. Please, who are you? She asked, her voice shaking. Chidi sighed, realizing his secret was unraveling faster than he had planned. I can explain, please, Jaachi. Explain what exactly, eh? She snapped. That you're not who you say you are. I know that already. I also know that you've been lying to me this whole time. I didn't mean to lie, Chidi said, his voice soft. From the moment I saw you, I've loved you, but I've heard so many things about you not liking wealthy men. That's why I came like a plumber, so I could get a shot. Please, Jaachi, I didn't mean to lie to you, he said, walking to her. Jaachi shook her head, stepping back. You have deceived me all this while. Chidi, I trusted you. I opened up to you, and now everything is a lie. For days, Jaachi avoided Chidi. She couldn't believe how foolish she had been, letting herself trust someone so deeply, only to find out he's been lying all along. Every time she thought about him, all the effort he had made to get her attention, the imported lace and the times they spent chatting and eating meat pies. She was no stranger to deceit. Her father's wealth had built on deceit, built on dark rituals that destroyed her family. Now here she was with Chidi, another man she thought she could trust, shattering her peace with lies. The worst part was how much she missed him. One evening, as Jaachi was about to close for the day, she heard a knock on the door. "Who is it?" she called out sharply. "It's me," Chidi's voice replied, quiet but firm. "What do you want?" she asked, her tone cold. "I want to explain." "I don't need your explanation, Chidi. You lied to me." "I know I did. And I regret it every single day. But please hear me out." Chachi crossed her arm, leaning against the door frame. "You have just 5 minutes." Chidi took a deep breath. "I didn't lie to hurt you. I lied because I wanted you to see me for who I am, not for my wealth. The moment I heard you believe that all rich men are ritualists, I knew approaching you as myself would only push you away. So I became Chidi the plumber, hoping to win your trust first. And what happens now, Chidi? Now that I know the truth, do you expect me to magically forget everything about my belief?" "No," Chidi said quietly. "I don't expect that. But I'm not a ritualist, Jaachi. You know me. I earn my wealth through hard work and honesty. My success is built on trust, not blood or cultism." Jaachi stared at him. She wanted to believe him, but the scar of her past ran too deep. Chidi stepped closer, his voice breaking. "I love you, Jaachi. I've never felt this way about anyone before, trust me. And if I have to give everything up, my wealth, my status to prove that to you, I will. I'll go back to being Chidi the plumber if that's what it takes." Jaachi looked away. "You think it's that simple?" "No," Chidi admitted, "but I'm willing to fight for you. Tell me what I need to do." "I need someone I can trust with my life, Chidi. And you're not. I trusted you, opened my heart to you, and now everything felt like a lie." Jaachi had spent the last few weeks avoiding Chidi. Her mind was in turmoil, caught between the love she had once felt for him and the betrayal she couldn't shake off. Every time she thought of him, she was reminded of his lies, and it hurt her more than she wanted to admit. She still missed him, but she couldn't bring herself to trust him again. One afternoon, as she was walking through the neighborhood on her way back from the market, she overheard a group of women gossiping near a local food stand. She stopped in her tracks as she heard Chidi's in one's name. "You don't know Mr. Chidi?" one of the women asked. "He's the one who helped that widow from across the street start her tailoring business. He sent all that woman's children to school. They say he's so kind that he tarred the road leading to his area." She stopped in her tracks. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. "That philanthropist, Mr. Chidezenwa. Someone said he's building a branch of his company around this area and that he has been coming around here very often these days. This man, if you hear his story, he started from nothing and now, even as a billionaire, you won't even know. They say he's so humble and never flaunts his wealth, always looking for ways to give back." Chachi's heart skipped a bit. She knew who they were talking about. "What's his name?" "Mr. Chidezenwa now. His branch office is even too far from here. It's just by the corner." Chachi froze. Chidi, the same man who had lied to her, pretended to be a modest plumber, the man she had rejected and yet couldn't stop thinking about. Later that day, curiosity knocked at her. She couldn't ignore the whispers anymore. Jaachi decided to pay a visit to the office the woman had mentioned. As she walked through the business district, her heart raced with each step. She had no idea what to expect, but she knew she needed answers. She arrived at a large office building with sleek glass windows, the kind that screamed success. The security guard greeted her politely as she entered, and she was led through the lobby into a spacious conference room where Chidi was waiting. "Jaachi," he said, standing up as she entered, his face softening with a genuine surprise. "I wasn't expecting you." She didn't know where to begin. I heard some things about you." Chidi nodded, his eyes steady. "I know. You're probably wondering why I didn't tell you everything from the start." Jaachi didn't respond immediately. Instead, she walked to the large windows that overlooked the town. She couldn't shake the feeling that everything she had believed about him, everything she had convinced herself was true, was wrong. I've heard some good things about you, Chidi, she said quietly, turning back to him. They say you built this business from nothing, that you used to hawk pure water. Chidi smiled, a hint of pride in his eyes. That's true. I started with nothing. After I was sold pure water, I got small money which I used to buy second-hand electronics on the side of the road. That was where I was selling. It wasn't easy, but I worked hard, learned everything I could, and slowly I built something I could be proud of. Judge's eyes narrowed and looked at him. And all the stories about you helping people, are they also true? They are, he said, walking closer. I've been lucky, Jaachi, but I didn't forget where I came from. I couldn't. I've always believed in giving back. It's the only way I know to honor the struggles that got me here. Jaachi stood there, stunned. This wasn't the man she had thought he was. This wasn't the rich man who used his wealth to manipulate people. This was someone who had worked tirelessly, made sacrifices, and built something real. Not just for himself, but for others too. After a few moments of silence, Jaachi spoke. I was wrong. I've been wrong all along, Chidi. I judged people before I even knew their full story. I understand, he said softly. I should have told you everything from the beginning, but I was afraid you see only my wealth and not the person I am. Jaachi shook her head, tears threatening to spill. I thought you were like my father. I thought you were like all those men who ruined their family. I couldn't let myself believe that someone could actually care without expecting something in return. Chidi stepped forward, his voice gently. I know your fears, and I'm sorry that I added to them, but I'm not like them, Jaachi. I'm not asking for your forgiveness to buy your love. I'm asking for a chance to show you who I am. I am for real, and you can trust me wholly. Jaachi wiped her eyes, feeling a weight lift from her shoulders. I don't know if I'm ready to trust yet, but I'm willing to try. Chidi smiled, his heart swelling with hope. That's all I need, Jaachi, just a chance. Over the next few days, Jaachi began to see Chidi in a new light. She visited his business several times, and each time she learned more about the man. She felt more and more for him. He wasn't just a successful businessman. He was a man who had fought hard for everything he had, who cared about his community, and who wanted nothing more than to be understood for who he truly was. One evening, as they sat together in his office, Jaachi turned to him. I think I understand now, she said softly. I've been holding on to the past, but you've shown me that it's okay to let go. Chidi reached for Jaachi's hand, his gaze steady and full of hope. You don't have to do it alone, Jaachi. I want to be with you every step of the way, through every fear, every doubt, and every triumph. Jaachi blinked back tears. Her lips trembled as a smile broke through. Chidi, after everything we've been through, I'm starting to believe that just maybe, love is worth the risk. Chidi chuckled, the kind of laugh that came from pure relief. Ah, Madam CEO, he said with a playful grin. Will you marry me? Jaachi's laughter joined his, soft and melodic. She looked at him, her heart overflowing with a mixture of joy and peace she hadn't felt in years. Yes, she whispered, her voice growing louder as her confidence rose. Yes, I'll marry you, Chidi. Chidi whooped so loudly that the office staff outside his door paused in confusion. You've just made me the happiest man alive, he declared, pulling her into a warm embrace. And so, the news spread quickly. Jaachi and Chidi's story became the talk of the town, a modern fairy tale of love, perseverance, and redemption. Soon, the sound of wedding bells filled the air, and as they prepared to embark on their new journey together, Jaachi knew one thing for certain. Her past no longer held her captive, and not all rich men were ritualists. Her future was here in the arms of a man who had shown her the meaning of love, built on truth and trust. The end. Thank you so much for watching this story till the end. I hope you enjoyed it. One lesson I learned from this story is that sometimes the beliefs we hold so dear might be wrong. We need to have an open mind to be able to share and understand from another perspective. Jaachi was too sure that every man she met, every rich man she met was a ritualist. And she later found out that Chidi was not. The story is just about growth, trust, and the courage to challenge our own beliefs. I believe Jaachi's journey was one of overcoming the shadows of her past, especially the pain and betrayal of her father's secrets, which shaped her view of the world. She believed that all wealthy men were tied to darkness and ritual, and she was unable to see beyond the surface of their success. So tell me, what can you take away from this story? Please, I would like to hear your comments in the comment section, and please don't forget to tell me where you're watching from. Thank you so much for supporting our journey and for watching this video to the end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more interesting, inspirational, and moral videos like this. See you on the next video. Bye.